I want to get as far as I can do it. So I'm like, come on, you can do it, you know.
Yeah, it's happy to see it challenging.
I want to welcome everybody to our 2017-2018 Officer Installation and Jennifer Brooks Awards Ceremony Dinner. It's going to be a very festive event and a great event. We're honoring some tremendous individuals, but before we get started, I would like to have a moment of silence. Many of us, me included, were touched by the senseless tragedy that happened in Las Vegas. Some of us have lost people we've known, or those have been wounded or assisted in getting people to aid and shelter. So I just want to have a moment of silence, if we could, for the victims of this senseless tragedy. Thank you. Again, welcome this evening. We have some amazing honorees tonight. We have Nancy Everhart, we have Byron Thompson, and we have Judge Paul Egley. All have given significant contributions to the local legal community and to the community at large. And thankfully, we have a lot of dignitaries here tonight to help honor those folks, and I would like to recognize them. We have several judges here tonight, and we really appreciate your attendance. We have Judge Honorable Martha Bellinger, Honorable Teresa Bennett, Honorable Pamela King, Justice Jeffrey King, our local movie star, the Honorable Leroy Simmons, the Honorable Elizabeth Simmons, one of our newest board members, the Honorable Janet Frangi, Honorable Barry Plotkin, the Honorable Wilford J. Schneider, Jr., Commissioner Michael Gassner, Honorable John P. Vanderveer, Honorable Michael Rutberg, Honorable Winston Kay, Honorable Michael Sachs, Honorable Bill McVitie, and the Honorable Lynn Ponsine. We also have some elected officials here this evening, and we too appreciate their attendance greatly. Mark Steinorth, our state assemblyman, is here. And we also have Ontario City Council member Deborah Doris Parada. Thank you for being here. We have some past presidents of our organization in attendance: Angelique Bonanno, Elizabeth Courtney, Donald Dench, Diana Hartog, Dean McVeigh, David Ricks, Charles Doskow, and Randall Hanna. Let's give them a round of applause. And we have some sister organization presidents here this evening from the San Bernardino County Bar Association: Michael Scafidi, Tom Dominic, Charles Aldhouse, Chuck Doskow, John Lowenthal, and the Honorable Wilford Schneider. Thank you. We also have a past State Bar President, Jim Heiding, here this evening. Thank you for coming, Jim. Past Judicial Officer of the Year Award recipients in attendance, again, the Honorable Janet Frangi and Justice Jeffrey King. And we have past Jennifer Brooks Award winners in attendance. We have Greg Rizzio and Michael Scafidi. Thank you for being here, both of you. We also have past Lifetime Achievement awardees in attendance: Charles Doskow and Charles Aldhouse. Thank you, both of you. I'd also like to thank our sponsors this evening. Without our sponsors, we couldn't put this together and have a great night. I'd like to thank our diamond sponsors, Braun Lipinski, Rizzio Law Firm, law offices of Fernando D. Vargas, Schunoff, Bedard, Echeverria, Varner and Brandt, and the University of Laverne College of Law. Let's all give them a round of applause. Thank you. Our platinum sponsors, the Honorable James and Wendy Brooks. Thank you. Our gold sponsors, David M. Goldstein, attorney at law, Fullerton, Lehman, Schaefer, and Dominic, law offices of Matthew L. Taylor, law offices of Mitchell Roth. Thank you. Our silver sponsors, Aiken Cohn, Inland Empire Law Group, JAMS, law offices of Justin H. King, Lewis, Brisbois, Bisgard, and Smith, Mercedes-Benz of Ontario. Thank you. Our bronze sponsors, Dubin Law Firm, Girardi Keys, law offices of Angelique G. Bonanno, law offices of Diane M. Hartog, Southern California Edison. Thank you. And I think we ran out of metal there, so we're done with those sponsors, but we'd like to recognize our other sponsors, and that's Dean McVeigh for the floral centerpieces. Thank you. The law offices of Brian Brandt for the red wine, and Laurel Starks for the white wine. Thank you very much. So this time I'm going to adjourn briefly for dinner, and I hope you enjoy your dinners. Thank you. We come here tonight to honor three amazing individuals. Byron Thompson, accomplished appellate lawyer and legendary family law litigator. Thank you for being here tonight. We look forward to honoring you. Sam Bernardino, Superior Court Executive Officer Nancy Everhart, the heart and soul, the engine of what makes our justice system run locally. Thank you. And retired Judge Paul Egley, who couldn't be here in person, but we honor him as a local civil rights icon, as a pioneering educator, and of course a distinguished jurist. So, thank you. We honor these three amazing individuals in the spotlight of the memory of Jennifer Brooks, and I'm sure all of you saw her photo out there. Jennifer Brooks was a loving daughter and a tireless advocate for justice in our community. And we come together in the spotlight of her memory, which is indeed a blessing. Tonight also signifies my last few moments as president of this organization. And I want to tell you that it's been a true honor to serve as your president. We've set records for attendance and sponsorships, and also for membership this year. So I'm very proud of that. We have assisted several hundred local residents that were matched with competent, caring local counsel through our attorney lawyer referral service. I'm also very proud of that. We've had lively and informative CLE activities led by outstanding local practitioners who's come to share their knowledge, and those have been well attended too. And we hope those continue. We look forward to those continuing. We've partied Mardi Gras style, maybe a little too hard, but we've done it, and Western style, and we've gathered toys for tots. It's been a spectacular year. Hopefully we've given our membership a slate of events and opportunities that has allowed for growth, camaraderie, and pride. That was my goal when I first started, and hopefully we have obtained that this year. I am so grateful to be part of this close-knit legal community. It gives me great pride to be a part of it. And I look forward to another amazing year with my successor and dear friend, Fernando Vargas, at the helm. I want to give some quick thank yous before we go out to the awards themselves. For those who helped make my term so enjoyable. My fellow board members, thank you for your hard work, your dedication, and spirited commitment to our organization. I really appreciate you. Thank you. To Devil Mora, our administrative rock for so many years, you'll be missed, but you won't be forgotten, and you were greatly appreciated. Thank you. To our administrative director, our new interim administrative director, Lisa Purcell-Rorick. You've hit the ground running, and you're doing a great job, and we look forward to many more months and years ahead of your service. Thank you. To my law partner who's sitting on a boat somewhere in Maui catching big fish, Steve Brown. It's been an incredible 17-year run, and I appreciate your partnership and friendship. To my amazing mentors and colleagues, Aaron Boyd, John Fessler, and the inimitable Greg Rizzio, thank you for letting me walk among greatness with you as I get to learn from the very best attorneys every day. Thank you. To my loyal and talented attorneys, Danielle Ashalati, Mandeep Rupal, thank you for your fine work every day and for more than holding down the fort with your skill this year. Thank you. Most importantly, I want to thank my wife, my soulmate of 23 years, Gina, who is spending her birthday at the Ontario DoubleTree watching her husband give a speech. Thank you. I've loved this man on earth thanks to you. Thank you. And with that, I want to move forward by calling out our outgoing officers and board members to present certificates. I'd like to call up everybody who served on our board this past year to come up and receive their certificate. I'd like to recognize Dean McVeigh for his service of many years. I'd also like to recognize David Ricks. Where's David? I'd like to recognize Mitchell Roth. I'd like to recognize Matthew Taylor. And of course, I'd like to recognize Fernando Vargas. I'd like to recognize Will Wooten, who could not be here tonight, but we still recognize him. He's got an anniversary. So we are very happy to have him on our board. Fernando Bernheim, thank you, sir. Angelique Bonanno, thank you. I'd like to recognize Tom Dominic. I'd like to recognize David Goldstein. I'd I'd like to recognize Randy Hanna. I'd like to recognize Diane Hartog. Thank you. I'd like to recognize the outgoing dean of our law school, or member of our board, Dean Gilbert Holmes. I'd also like to recognize board member Justin King. Thank you. And I've recognized myself. All right, we've got some new officers coming in. We're very excited about that. I will just list off the new officers, and then we'll call up Judge Sachs to swear the board in. We have Fernando Vargas, our president. Justin King, our president-elect. Thomas Dominic, our vice president. Matthew Taylor, our secretary-treasurer. And then the directors, we have myself, Fernando Bernheim, Angelique Bonanno. Now new to the board, Honorable Janet Frangi. I ask that she come up at this time. We have David Goldstein, Randall Hanna, Diane Hartog, Justin King, Dean McVeigh, David Ricks, Mitchell Roth, and Will Wooten once again serving the board. So I'd like to give them another round of applause. We have new board member Kevin Marshall. I would ask him to come up as well, please. Thank you. We also have new board member Candace Garcia Rodrigo. I'd ask that she come up as well. And last but not least, certainly, we have new board member Michael Scafidi. Please come on out. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call the Honorable Michael Sachs to administer the oath to the new board.
Solemnly swear or affirm your duties and responsibilities as officers and directors of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, being mindful of your roles as representatives of your membership, as officers of the court, and as attorneys dedicated to service of the public and legal system. Say I do.
I do.
All right, congratulations, everybody.
All right, it's with great honor and relief that I turn the microphone over to Fernando Vargas, our new president, for some remarks.
Thank you, Darren, and good evening, everyone. Welcome. By now, most of you have had a drink or two, at least. You probably had some food and you're semi-content, or almost there. I'm going to keep my remarks brief. I believe in brevity and getting to the point, but I'm going to share some important goals and tasks that I would like to achieve as president. As I receive this position of president, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I am fitting into a pair of shoes that have previously been worn by some of the most accomplished lawyers in our community. Individuals who have served by generosity that has no limits in terms of their time and their resources. Well-respected lawyers who have led the cause to try to bring change to our organization, to improve it, who have given of their time with a selfless dedication and commitment. Hardworking and honorable people who have labored tirelessly to help bring an aura of excellence to our organization. Wow, those are some big shoes to fill. And make no mistake about it, I am definitely up for the challenge. As I stand here before you tonight, I recognize that I am confronted with a unique and privileged opportunity to give back to a legal community that during the tenure of my career has given me so much on so many different levels. I'm extraordinarily blessed to be an attorney who has practiced 30 plus years in our community, and even more blessed to be in a position to now give back. I eagerly and enthusiastically embrace the opportunities and the challenges of continuing to work and build upon all of the work that has been done by my predecessors. I vow to you tonight to bring the same level of passion and energy as past presidents have done in now seeking to build upon and improving the excellence with which we as an organization provide for our members. My agenda includes my first and absolute priority to increase and grow our membership. I intend to seek innovative and new ideas of reaching out to prospective members by trying to make the methodology that we use more efficient and have more success. I'm going to evaluate the benefits that we provide for our members with the hopes of being able to improve the quality of the continuing education programs, the quality of the social functions, and the overall benefits to increase the appeal of becoming a member to our organization. The hope, of course, is to increase membership. I fully intend to reach out to our sister organization, the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, and explore avenues of how we can support one another in serving our membership, of how we can collaborate to have joint continuing education programs, joint social functions, and vastly and dramatically improve the opportunities to network. We are a vast and diverse legal community that is growing rapidly. If we unite our efforts with our sister organization on much of what we do, we can exponentially increase the value of the benefits that we provide to each and every one of our members. And again, in doing so, increase the appeal of becoming a member, as well as to continue to increase our growth. I intend to continue in our efforts to instill the fee dispute program, and fully expect that that program should be up and running in early 2018. You can check our bulletin for announcements, and that will give you more information as we get closer to that date. I continue to work closely with the civil courts in the county of San Bernardino to instill a more cost-effective mediation program with the ADR program, specifically focusing on cases that have a settlement value of less than $50,000. That would be a tremendous benefit, which essentially is twofold. One, it would help alleviate the congestion in our courts by settling these small cases that tend to clog up the system. And two, it will provide an avenue of less expensive mediation to litigants in San Bernardino County who don't have the means or the financial wherewithal to explore mediation on their cases. I intend to strengthen our mentorship program. I reflect back 30 years ago on my first year of practicing law, my most stressful year of practicing law, primarily because I had no one to seek guidance from, no one to show me the do's and the don'ts, the caveats, the pitfalls, the warnings. I will make an effort to encourage senior lawyers to assume positions of mentorship where we can mentor the baby lawyers, where we can share wisdom, knowledge, experience, and war stories, and hopefully equip the baby lawyers at an early stage in their career with the tools that they need to be able to become effective and refined practitioners in our community. I fully expect to accomplish my goals with the support of our board of directors, a diverse group of highly intelligent, extremely accomplished, and well-respected legal practitioners in our community. Working together, we can bring a source of excellence to our community and to our members that will help increase and grow our membership. It is easy to look at some of our successful events in the past and to look at the person behind the microphone or the persons behind the microphone, the officers, the directors, or even our generous sponsors, and conclude that they are the sole and exclusive reason for our success. But behind the scenes, there is always somebody who is working tirelessly, somebody who is giving their all with honor and integrity, a commitment not just to meet standards of excellence, but to establish the standards of excellence. And typically that person goes unrecognized only because of the success of the event. If we were to have a pitfall, a setback, or a failure, we would know exactly who that person is. Our administrative director, Deva Mora, has worked in that capacity. I have had the privilege and honor of working closely with her. I have seen an individual go far above and beyond the call of duty. I have seen somebody give everything they have to make our success a wonderful and amazing organization that, with the support of our officers and directors, yields a successful event time and time again. And it is my privilege to say to my friend Deva, on behalf of the Western San Bernardino Bar Association, I would like to express our deepest and heartfelt gratitude for all of your commitment, all of your efforts, all of the amazing things you do, and the things that we don't even know about, all of which come together to culminate in a successful event time in and time again. At this point, I would ask you to come up to the stage so that we can honor you with a plaque and flowers. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome our new executive director, Lisa Purcell-Rohrig. She's already hit the ground running, as Darren alluded to. She's an amazing person. I've gotten to know her a little bit in the past couple of weeks. Lisa, I look forward to working closely with you to fulfill our agenda as we seek to continue the hard work of our predecessors. At this point, I would like to call Darren Lipinski back up to the podium. Darren, in appreciation for your outstanding service as officer and president, I am privileged, my friend, to extend this award to you on behalf of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association. At this point, I invite all dignitaries to please come up who have recognitions for Darren Lipinski.
Good evening. My name is Heather Perry. I'm here on behalf of Senator Morrell.
And my name is David. I'm here on behalf of the Assemblyman Mark Steinhardt.
It's an honor to be here tonight on behalf of the Senator. I believe last year you were a little MIA. I think you were in the hospital. So it's a pleasure to meet you. So we have a resolution for you, Mr. Lipinski. It's on behalf of the Senator Mike Morrell, 23rd Senatorial District, the Honorable Connie M. Leva, 20th Senatorial District, Honorable Chad Mays, 42nd Assembly District, Honorable Jay Overnolte, 33rd Assembly District, Honorable Eloise Gomez Reyes, 47th Assembly District, and the Honorable Mark Steiner, 40th Assembly District. So we're going to read it for you. Whereas Darren L. Lipinski, outgoing president of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, will be honored for his service during the association's 2017 through 2018 installation of officers and awards ceremony on October 5th, 2017, at which time he is deserving of special honors and commendations in recognition of his contributions to the betterment of the legal profession, the greater Chino Hills community, and San Bernardino County. And whereas an alumnus of Skidmore College in Saratoga Springs, New York, from which he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1994, Darren Lipinski went on to receive his Juris Doctor degree from Loyola School of Law in Los Angeles, California. And throughout his career as an attorney, he has demonstrated a concern for the legal profession and dedication to furthering the profession's goals and ideals. And whereas, while serving as the president of the Western Bar, San Bernardino County Bar Association, Darren Lipinski has sought to foster renewed cooperation among local bar associations and encourage the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association programs that benefit both the legal profession and the public at large in their engagement with the San Bernardino County courts. And whereas, distinguishing himself throughout his current service on the Board of Governors of the Consumer Attorneys of California, Darren Lipinski also serves as President-elect of the Consumer Attorneys of the Inland Empire as a member of the Executive Board for the University of Laverne Department of Legal Studies. And
The wait is more. I know, sorry, he's kind of long. I'll finish it off right now. So whereas additionally, Darren Lipinski is a long-standing member of the California Employment Lawyers Association and National Employment Lawyers Association, has spoken at conferences throughout California on employment law and civil litigation issues, and co-authored Thomas Reuters representing employees in sexual harassment cases, leading lawyers on managing sexual harassment disputes and achieving success resolutions. Whereas, by virtue of leadership, dedication, and efforts in support of Western San Bernardino County Bar Association and its mission, Darren Lipinski has brought credit and distinction to himself and to the association, and San Bernardino County is indeed fortunate to have citizens of this caliber, whose efforts reflect the high ideals of public leadership and public service. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Senators Mike Morrell and Connie Leva and Assembly Member Chad Mays, Jay Overnolte, Ovi Gomez Reyes, and Assemblyman Mark Steiner, that Darren H. Lipinski be commended for exemplary leadership as President of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association and extended sincere best wishes for success in his future worthy endeavors. Thank you.
To the Legal Assistant of the Year Award. An award is given each year to a legal assistant who exhibits the utmost in professionalism, experience, and assistance not only to his or her employer, but also to the legal community, and who goes above and beyond the call of duty. There were many fine candidates in the overall consideration for this award, but there was one in particular who stood head and shoulders above the others. At this time, I would like to invite Nancy Eberhardt to the podium to receive an award and flowers and to give an acceptance speech. And I'm being told that the presiding Judge Haight is supposed to give an introduction, so at this time I'll call Judge Haight to the podium.
Well, Nancy just gave a demonstration of her management skills. Good evening to all of you. It was such an honor when Nancy came to me and requested that I introduce her when she received this award. As I heard what the criteria are for the award, she just fits the criteria perfectly. As I'm about to tell you, Nancy truthfully came up through the ranks in the legal profession to the position she's in now. In 1998, she received her Bachelor of Arts degree from San Diego, University of San Diego. 1989 and 90, she was a legal assistant for San Diego civil firm. 1990-91, legal assistant paralegal for another law firm. In 1991, she joined the San Diego County Superior Court as a probate examiner and did that until 1998. In 1998, she became a senior probate examiner. In 2001-2006, she became the court operations manager for probate, domestic violence for central and northern portions of San Diego. 2006 to 2008, she was the director of civil, small claims, family, juvenile, and probate divisions. And then from 2008 to 2015, she was the assistant executive officer for the San Diego Superior Court. And then in April of 2015, she came to the San Bernardino County Superior Court. She was a deputy court executive officer at that time. After serving 8 months as the interim court executive officer, on January 1st, 2017, she took the position of court executive officer for the San Bernardino County Superior Court. Many of you may not know, but our executive officer is elected by the judges. It takes a majority vote of the sitting judges to elect someone to be court executive officer, and Nancy had no problem winning that election. She's currently responsible for the overall administration of the 5th largest court in our state. We have 86 judicial officers, over 1,000 employees. The annual budget's $124 million. We have 12 courthouses around the county. That's what Nancy manages. She serves in the following organizations. She's a certified instructor for the Institute for Court Management in the area of high-performing courts and case flow management. She's a current member of the California Judicial Advisory Committee on Providing Access and Fairness. She's also a current member of the Trial Court Facilities Modification Advisory Committee. She was recently appointed to the Judicial Council's Trial Court Budget Advisory Committee, and she also serves on the Executive Committee of the Court Executive Officers Advisory Committee. I asked staff in preparation for this speech to give me some examples, if they could, to illustrate her leadership style, and I do have 3 examples that were provided by various employees. Some time ago, I think it was late or early last year, we had a visit by a Judicial Council member. We were going to give a PowerPoint presentation, and the employee who set up the PowerPoint, the computer, forgot to plug it in. So halfway through the presentation, the laptop died. We had to take a break while the employee came in to log on so we could reboot. She was, of course, mortified. When she arrived, Nancy told her not to worry. It was no problem at all. Another example is when an item was left off of a meeting agenda, instead of blaming the employee, Nancy said, "I probably forgot to tell you." Nancy personalizes the Employee of the Month ceremonies. For a Beatles fan, she played Beatles music during the presentation. For a Star Wars fan, she bought a Star Wars lightsaber for the presentation. Yes, I like that one best. I asked Nancy what she was most proud of during her tenure as court executive officer, and these are, I think, the answers I liked the most. The first was reorganizing the court's governance for implementation of Odyssey to provide clear lines of authority, but also offer maximum participation at all levels of the organization. Number two, the executive team was reorganized to reflect all the major areas of the court. And this one, I think, really illustrates Nancy's management style most. Empowering our staff to seek out education and training opportunities by offering leadership, training, acknowledging milestone graduations, and bringing in outside trainers to raise the bar on learning and self-improvement. Requests for tuition reimbursement for training and education have doubled in the last year since she's been court executive officer. You can see that Nancy's success and achievements are a testament to hard work, dedication, people skills, and talent. It's just been a delight to work with Nancy for the last year and a half. She makes the job of being presiding judge very, very easy. I have confidence court operations are being managed in a responsible and efficient manner with Nancy at the helm. It's with great pride I present Nancy Eberhardt, this year's recipient of the Legal Assistance of the Year Award.
So first rule of thumb, never talk before your presiding judge. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, President, or past President Darren Lipinski, and the officers and directors of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association. And congratulations to the incoming leadership, especially our Judge Freeman. We look forward to continuing our bench bar collaboration that we've had over many years. Mitchell Roth, where are you? Do you hear something? There you are. So he stopped by my office not long ago to inform me of this award, and I was so excited, but mostly I was relieved that he was not telling me probate had gone off the rails again. So thank you. As you all know, Mitchell is a huge Bruce Springsteen fan, so I was also doubly excited that he didn't have to sing a rendition of Glory Days by the Boss, because that means I still have some glory days ahead of me, and the San Bernardino court is not the best thing behind me. Judge Haight, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm humbled and honored, and will always do my best to serve our court. I don't know how to contain in a couple of minutes or less what your leadership has meant to the court and to the executive team and me. You have been a teacher, a mentor, a great listener, and a worthy SIF leader in our fight at the state level for equal funding. We really mean it when we say the Inland Empire is striking back. It is with utmost respect that I thank you for your role as presiding judge and as our Judge Haight. Thank you also to our... So as we make our transition, I'd like to also thank our soon-to-be presiding judge, Judge Vanderveer. I'm grateful for your support. Our court is poised to move quickly into technology and remote access. Judge Vanderveer will lead us well into this new venture and is already filling our to-do list with some great ideas. Hashtag Modria, right? We're in good hands with him, so thank you, Judge Vanderveer. We also have our incoming assistant presiding judge with us, Judge Sachs. He's a wonderful addition to our leadership team, and we look forward to teaching him the ropes up on the 11th floor. So thank you. Thank you to the executive committee and the judges and commissioners of our court for their constant support and leadership as we provide access to the community. As you may know, we've expanded access in many areas in the last 2 years, including shelter court, complex civil, probate family, girls court, opening needles, and soon to be Big Bear, and too many other projects to name, all led by judicial champions. They are wonderful judges, and we need to applaud them tonight. So each morning I can't wait to get to work, and they're going to laugh over there, but it really is true. Sometimes I don't have my coffee. And I share my day with an amazing team of leaders in the executive office. They're gifted, passionate, funny, supportive, and the glue that holds our court together. They make magic out of small budgets, lack of resources, space, and time. This award is a team effort and belongs to all of them. So thank you for your service, guys. You're all role models of the best there is to offer and service to the public. So I'd like to, if you would allow me to, thank and introduce Mary Davis, who's not here tonight. She's at the CJA meeting with her wonderful husband, Judge Davis. Mr. Alan Krause, our Deputy Executive Officer over Facilities and Technology. Alan, raise your hand. He's probably checking on our servers right now. Ms. Deborah Myers, she is our General Counsel. She's also over legal services, self-help, and contracts and procurement. Thank you, Deborah. Kim Turner is our Deputy Executive Officer over Human Resources and Training and has done a lot of training this year. So thank you, Kim. Bob Fleshman is our Deputy Executive Officer over Finance and Communications. Thank you, Bob. Ms. Annabelle Romero, she's one of our newest additions from Orange County. We got her. She's our Deputy Executive Officer over Operations. Sherry Garofalo, her partner, also a new addition, is not with us today. She's in Spain, either charging with bowls or working on elections. I'm not sure, but hopefully she's okay over there. And our wonderful staff that keeps us all together, starting with Suzanne Barrios, right in the back there. Kate Lewis, here she is. And Ms. Diana Gonzalez, who is taking videos. So I could not run around 20,000 square miles that is San Bernardino without a very supportive family. They are first in my thoughts, my heart, and my actions. My son Johnny's not here tonight. He's a theater major, and tomorrow he's opening a play at Cal State Fullerton. So in a shameless plug for him, which he asked me to do, get your tickets for Red Scare on Sunset starting tomorrow. It's a great play, and it's running 18 shows in October. He's right where he needs to be, and that makes his mom proud, so I'm happy he's there. My daughter Lori's with us today. She just finished her midterms yesterday and is nearing a degree in accounting, so she's drinking heavily tonight. She's my hero and my inspiration. I don't know if you saw, but she was using crutches tonight. When others say that she can't, when others say they can't and make excuses, she finds a way. What could be a significant barrier in her life, cerebral palsy, has become a challenge that she takes on fiercely and wins with quiet grace, and a smile. In her off time, she's a state champion horseback rider and skis half pipes, moguls, and down the hill at speeds that make me want to drink heavily. Thank you, Lori, for teaching me more than I could ever teach you. Finally, my husband, Greg, or AKA Saint Greg, as we call him. I've known this guy and loved him since I was 10 years old. Well, maybe 14 years old. Because when we were kids, he would cut my kite strings, pull my pigtails, and dunk me under the water at the pool. Who knew that meant he liked me? Kind of strange. He's kind, and he's a selfless person, and he's the soul of our family. He's my best friend and lifelong partner. He raised 2 honor students and half of the neighborhood kids and classmates. As a recent retiree, he's our home CEO, which allows me to give my best to the court. So thank you so much. I came to San Bernardino 2.5 years ago after a full career in another county, and for several reasons, but mostly because I just fell in love with San Bernardino Court. San Bernardino is known as the court that can. In the face of geographical challenges, chronic underfunding, and lack of sufficient judgeships, right, your legislature, by the way, since they're here, and other demographic challenges, we get the work of justice done. The collaboration within the court and between the court and our justice partners, DA, public defender, probation, sheriff, and the bar is unique. It is something we should be proud of, foster, and protect. I'm humbled and honored to be a part of justice in this county. So again, thank you for this honor and the chance to thank you in person for your role in supporting our mission. Almost 30 years ago, I began my career as a legal assistant for a construction defect firm. Who knew when I was climbing up ladders to check for defective roofing with our experts that I would climb other ladders to lead in serving the San Bernardino court? This award is a wonderful nod to that young lady and a very fascinating career, so thank you.
Don't go yet, don't go. See, I'm new to all this, so you're going to have to be patient with me. At this point, I would like to present you with, it's my distinct pleasure on behalf of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association to present you with this plaque for Legal Assistant of the Year. I'm being told that there are some dignitaries that I need to call up that are going to further recognize you. I think I'm going to invite you to come back up.
Stay up here for the rest of the program too. Maybe more people honoring. I'll keep this short. It's not as long as the last one, I promise. I don't want the crowd to turn on us. We have 2 more people to present. But on behalf of the California State Assemblyman, Mark Steiner, I would like to present you this certificate for being the Legal Assistant of the Year Award for the Western San Bernardino County Association, Bar Association. So thank you.
So just to make it a little bit different, so it's not exactly the same thing, on behalf of Senator Morrell, in recognition of your diligence, commitment, and service to the betterment of the County of San Bernardino, thank you. Congratulations.
Now we're going to move on to the Lifetime Achievement Award. Unfortunately, the retired and Honorable Paul Egley cannot be here to join us, but I would like to call up Mitchell Roth to the podium to make some remarks about the Honorable Paul Egley.
Good evening and thanks for attending. I just have a funny story about Judge Egley. When I was a tot as an attorney, I worked with John Bernardino. He was my mentor. And we had a personal injury trial in Judge Egley's court in Pomona. This had to be probably 140 pounds ago in 1992 for me. But anyway, we were in the middle of trial. We were the plaintiffs. And we called a doctor in as an expert witness to testify at 1:30 in the afternoon, you know, maybe in day 4 of trial. And the doctor was not present. And Judge Egley was getting a little annoyed with us and said, "Where's your witness?" And we're like, I showed him the subpoena that we had. And he said, let's go back into my chambers. And he dials the doctor's office. And I don't know if some of you have ever heard when you call an office for a doctor, their receptionist or their secretaries, they'll go, "Well, doctor is not present. Doctor's with a patient right now. Doctor can't take your call." And so Judge Egley responded, "Well, you tell doctor this is judge. And judge wants doctor in my court in 15 minutes. And if doctor is not in my court in 15 minutes, judge will call policeman. Policeman will arrest doctor, and then doctor can deal with inmates and warden." And to be sure, the doctor was there. It's just a little story that I remember about Judge Egley. He was revered as a judge in Pomona, and I wish he could be here, but I just thought you would enjoy that story. So we have some other speakers that I'll talk to you. And again, everybody, thanks for coming out tonight.
I'd like to also invite Dean McVeigh to come up to the podium.
All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. So the bad news is Judge Egley could not be here, and Jane Egley could not be here because she's home in Laguna Beach taking care of Judge Egley. The good news is there's 2 less speeches you all have to sit through tonight. Hey! And I promise to be brief. We are videotaping tonight's presentation, so he will hear all of these comments and remarks, and we'll have a copy sent to his family and his family back east. So I'm really privileged and honored to be able to say a few words about Judge Egley, who was the dean of the University of Laverne, the founder of the University of Laverne, and I'm proud to say that I worked with him as a colleague at the University of Laverne College of Law. I was hired there in January of 1996 to teach as an adjunct, and he was one of our most esteemed faculty members. And I have lots of wonderful stories about him, and I'm sure you all do. There are some of you in the room that are Laverne students that may not have had him, and so I thought it was really appropriate that he be honored tonight, because there are about 40 or more Laverne students here that really don't know a lot about the founder of their law school. So tonight, hopefully you'll know a little bit more about him. And when I talked to Jane Egley, his wife, about the award, first of all, they were completely thrilled. And I hope you understand that if he could be here tonight, he would be. And by the way, I think his acceptance speech would consist of 2 words: thank you. So, and Judge Teresa Snodgrass Bennett will accept the award on his behalf. So Teresa, that's a hint. I think it's thank you would be all he would say. Yeah, I think she has a few more words than that. So I did ask her for some insight as to what she would say if she was up here tonight. And interestingly, she gave me some beautiful snippets of his life. And she tried to keep it to 3 or 4 words. And interestingly, I think each of these snippets could form a chapter in the book of Judge Paul Egley. And I'll start with California born, loving parents, piano lessons, orange picker, tennis player, which is interesting because I've known him as he had macular degeneration as somebody that I was fortunate enough to walk down the aisle at graduation ceremonies, and I never knew him as a young man. So it's interesting to understand his life when he was youthful and full of vim and vigor. So tennis player, good student, UCLA, railroad worker, World War II. And this one really hit home for me. Liberated a Nazi concentration camp. So let me just say that again. Liberated a Nazi concentration camp. Hated war. GW law. Practiced in Europe. Then back to California. Learning the ropes. Own practice. Lots of clients. Smart partners. Built boats. Origami teacher. Ran for office. Tapped as a judge. Took an unwanted case. Received hate mail. Clear thinker. Fabulous laugh. Founded a law school. Founded a law school. Incredible teacher and professor. Loves sailing. Sailed to Hawaii. Great to talk to. One of the Laguna Beach Greenbelt creators. Stepped in to preserve the Greenbelt. Serious Angels baseball fan. Stick in the mud. Father to wonderful daughter. Loving husband. Gardener. Inventive cook. Supportive stepfather. A tinkerer. A proud grandfather. And a proud step-great-grandfather. A creator of private judging. Reader extraordinaire. Author. Traveler. Barcelona resident. Loves music. Charming sometimes. Those were Jane's words, not mine. Ignored blindness. Read, read, read. Democrat, progressive. Interested in people. And listens. So on behalf of the Western San Bernardino County Bar Association, Judge Egley, we are so happy and so honored and so thrilled for all that you've done for the community as a lawyer, as a World War II veteran, as a judge, as the founder of our University of Laverne College of Law, as a fellow professor. Thank you so much. Thank you, Judge.
At this point, I'd like to invite Charles Dasco to come and make some remarks about the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Dean was extremely comprehensive. I'm going to be a little more episodic with this stage here. And I basically want to hark back to Paul's founding the law school at Laverne. Because it came about because he was teaching at an unaccredited law school in Covina, a school run for profit, and he wanted to apply for state accreditation. The owners didn't want to. So he came over to Laverne and made a deal with Arvin Sarafian, then the president of the University of Laverne, to bring his whole school with him. And I've always pictured Paul leading his troop of students over Kellogg Hill, up and down, and to Laverne. And what he got out of it essentially was 2 rooms in the basement of one old building. But the university got a law school. And he stayed on it and stayed on it as dean for many, many years, even while he was on the bench. And of course, it really stands today as his monument. But the other thing I want to talk about is his role as a judge. Because in 1977-78, he was on the bench in Los Angeles, and busing came to Los Angeles. And busing was not popular. It was extremely controversial, and it was not going to, ultimately did not succeed. But all the other 180 judges of the Los Angeles Superior Court ran for the hills rather than take the busing case because the former judge who had done it had lost the next election. Paul took it because he'd handled one of those cases before. And he became the object of a tremendous amount of obloquy, as Dean suggested. People really hated him. His name was really, well, people ran against busing, ran for Congress. It was a group called Bus Stop. And a woman actually got herself 2 terms in Congress, simply opposing busing. Paul made decisions in accordance with Supreme Court doctrine. The Court of Appeals panel reversed him 2 or 3 times. It was a frustrating thing for him because he was doing the right thing. He was employing the right people to try to integrate the schools by this really, truly unpopular method. Eventually, one of the decisions went to the Supreme Court of California, which refused to take the case. And essentially, the whole project died. And Herblock, who was then the #1 cartoonist around, drew a cartoon showing Paul Egley with 4 knives in his back. Those are the 4 judges of the Supreme Court of California who refused to take the case. Anyway, he resigned from the bench because he knew he could not be reelected. But he stands and always stood with me as a model of judicial courage and one who followed the law regardless of the consequences. And I've always thought it was important that the students, our students at Laverne, understand that their school was founded by someone who had those principles and the courage to carry them out. And I'm just delighted to be able to say something about him tonight. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to call up the Honorable Teresa Benefit to the podium to read some remarks about Judge Egley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Literally, I would not be here if it were not for Paul Egley and for a former employer of mine having windsurfed into his boat in Newport Harbor. And so I can give you a little bit of background. I was leaving my employment with a hospital. I was a transcription, speech, and language test assistant and receptionist for this program for 3.5 years. And I was supposed to be moving over to Europe, so I had given up my job, and it turned out my plans fell apart, but I didn't have a job. And the woman who had windsurfed into Judge Egley's boat said, she was one of my employers, and she said, well, you know, I have a friend, you've talked to him on the phone, he has an issue with his vision and he cannot drive any longer. He needs a driver and you need a job, and I told him about you and he said come on down and meet him, he might have some work for you. So I went, okay. So I went down to Laguna Beach, and I remember driving up to his house, walking in there going, I don't know you and you don't know me, but I need a job. And he goes, good, I need a driver. He says, but you know, I'm not sure I can use a part-time driver, I probably need a full-time driver. I said, that's good, because I need a full-time job. And so I literally fell into driving Judge Egley all over Southern California. And he couldn't see, but he said, where are we on the 710? And I would tell him, and he'd say, okay, go down 3 more exits and turn left. And he taught me the freeway system in Southern California. I would take him to arbitration hearings in the Torrance Courthouse. I would drive him downtown. I took him to Century City. He was always wanted as an arbitrator or as a mediator. And you're right, Dean McVeigh, he did start initially judicial arbitration hearings. And also, at that time, he was teaching classes at the University of Laverne College of Law. And I did not know, because I had been a student in French Lit at UC San Diego, and I had graduated from there. I'd spent a year abroad in Bordeaux. I came back, and that was in the mid-'70s. I went and lived in Belgium for a few years, came back by the end of the '70s, and I didn't start working for Judge Egley until 1983. But I kind of missed all that busing stuff. So, you know, I just wasn't really familiar with who he was, and he never talked about it. But people would find out who I was working for. And, you know, and I was just like, okay, well, I take him to this law school. Oh, he started that law school. Oh, okay, yeah, fine. And then in 1984, I wanted to volunteer with the Olympics. And he said, oh, my friend Tom Bradley really loves the Olympics. And sure, go ahead, you can volunteer for the summer, you know, I mean, apply. I said, okay, so I went and I applied, and when I was getting the application filled out, one of the ladies looked at me, she looked down, she looked at me, and she said, you work for Paul Egley? And I said, yes, and she goes, famous, isn't he? I just went, I was in East LA at the university, I went, okay, yeah, guess he is. And so after I was working for him for about 6 months, and I was looking into the paralegal program at the college, and I said, well, they have night school. I could probably do that and still take you and drive you and keep my job. And he goes, why don't you just apply to law school? And I said, well, you have to be brilliant to be a lawyer. And he starts laughing, that very famous laugh that he has. And he said, oh, no, you don't. Believe me. No, you don't. And I said, well, you know, at that time I said, I don't have any law experience. I never did anything in the law. And he goes, well, you know, I found that when I was dean, students who were lit majors, history majors, they understood synthesizing material, reading a lot, being able to write about it, and that's what the bar exam is all about, reading, synthesizing, and writing. And I said, well, you know, what would I do? And he goes, well, go to Laverne, apply, and go into the part-time night program, because that's why I started it. I started it for people for second careers. You know, people in the Inland Empire who didn't have an opportunity or a way to get to a university at UCLA or go full-time without, you know, they were in their mid-30s and they had children and families to support. And I said, okay, well, gosh, you know, I'll be like 35 when I graduate from law school. What if I don't pass the bar? And he goes, well, would you like to be 35 with a JD or without one? I said, okay, you're convincing me. And so I ended up applying to the law school, and I was accepted and found out that I really enjoyed studying law. And I was fortunate because I had him as a professor for I had him for professor for civil procedure and constitutional law. And so when I didn't understand some of those subjects, I had an hour-and-a-half drive with him home to Laguna Beach. I said, so say about that Fifth Amendment you were talking about, Judge. I didn't quite understand that. One day, Jane and Paul and I were in the car, and I used to always ask him if I would get a chauffeur's hat, because I was his driver, and he would just laugh and say no. Okay. But we were in the car one day, and I can't even remember where we were going, but we got onto the desegregation cases. And Jane asked him, hey, Paul, what did you think about the desegregation cases? And there was just silence in the car. And she said, did you hear me? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, well, what'd you think about him? And he goes, I don't know, you're the first person that ever asked. And I thought people made a lot of assumptions. And he spoke a little bit about it, and he said, you know, whether or not busing was my choice, that was the choice of the school board and the school district, the duly elected members of the Los Angeles Unified School District. And they determined that in order to desegregate the LA Unified School District, that they would use busing. So it was my task to enforce what a duly elected body had decided would be their means of desegregating the schools. And so in one of our civil procedure classes, we did the case of Bus Stop versus Superior Court. And so he explained from a legal decision and as the trial judge why that litigation went the way it went. And one other time, just because he was such a quick wit, we were at his house and Jane was reading in the newspaper, and there was a desegregation case that was in the news from Springfield, and I don't remember if it was Illinois or Indiana. But she was saying, oh, Paul, there's a desegregation case here in Springfield, and the superintendent of schools is just like pulling his hair out because he's got 65,000 student schedules he's trying to work with, and they're trying to desegregate the schools. He didn't miss a beat. He goes, when they have 650,000 student schedules, I'll feel something for him. So to realize that this person would, I know one of the things Chuck Doskow said was that he liberated a Nazi concentration camp. My mother was a nurse in World War II, and she was followed the troops from D-Day. So she wasn't at the D-Day landing, but she came about 90 days after, and they followed the troops, and she ended up in the Battle of the Bulge in the Ardennes. And she also had a very good affinity with Judge Egley because they were born the same year, they followed the same pattern, they knew about World War II, and my mother was asked by, because she was a non-combatant, she had to go to one of the concentration camps and see the aftermath of what had happened in order to have witnesses who would be living and not combatants and not soldiers to say what atrocities she had seen. So they had some things in common there that I think that was a special tie between the two of them. And as I said, I don't know how many of you here went to the University of Laverne College of Law, if you could raise your hands. And how many of us have Paul Egley as a teacher? So that's quite a few of us. I think he could grasp who deserved a chance, and if it wasn't for him seeing something in me, which was just a driver kind of floating around and not really sure what I was going to do with my life, as I said, I wouldn't be standing here. When I became a lawyer, the first person I called was my mother, the second person I called was Judge Egley. When I became a judge, the first person I told was my husband, the second person my mother, the third person Judge Egley. And I don't think without him, I obviously wouldn't be here, but I am so grateful my former boss windsurfed into his boat.
Judge Bennett, at this time, it is my distinct privilege to present you with the Lifetime Achievement Award for the Honorable Paul Egley, retired. On behalf of the Western San Bernardino Bar Association, I present you with this award. The At this time, I would like to call up all dignitaries.
That was something else. Everybody had great things to say, but I think what you said touched me the most and said the most about what a great man he was. So on behalf of Senator Morrell, we'd like to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to the Honorable Paul Egley.
So I too actually graduated from the University of Laverne, but last year, unfortunately not the law school portion, that's just the undergrad. Probably one of two non-lawyers here, even though we do understand a little bit about law. It's a little bit different facet of it. But again, on behalf of the State Assemblyman Mark Steiner, I'd like to present this to you on behalf of Honorable Paul Egley for his service, judge in the law, and his whole career. It's tremendous to hear all the different people speak on everything he's done and accomplished, and just the character that he has is definitely something to look up to and be inspired by. So again, on behalf of the State Assemblyman, here you go.
Thank you so much.
Now we move on to our winner for the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year Award. There was nobody more deserving than Byron Thompson. The Jennifer Brooks Award is given each year to a local lawyer who demonstrates the finest qualities of our profession. Such qualities include what Judge Charles W. McCoy refers to as the 5 C's: candor, compassion, civility, courage, and competence. As we know from those who knew Jennifer Brooks, she practiced law with great integrity and demonstrated all of these essential qualities. And Byron Thompson was the most deserving candidate when it came to the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year Award. At this point, I'd like to invite Blake Thompson to the podium to say a few words.
Byron, wow, you are handsome. I'm honored to speak. It's my father. I get the benefit of practicing with him on a daily basis. Congratulations to Judge Egley. Judge Egley was a professor of mine. Congratulations to Nancy Everhart as well for your honor. As I prepared this, I kept thinking, this is going to sound exactly like a eulogy. And I knew that I had to stay away from that, but I thought, you know what, I've never looked up the definition. So I looked it up. And eulogy is a speech or piece of writing containing great praise. So we're okay at that point. Everybody knows how this finishes, especially for someone who has recently died. So I thought, how do I do this appropriately? And I think if I keep it kind of in the present tense, then I'll be okay. Byron is many different things to many different people. He's a veteran who goes out of his way on a daily basis to thank people for their service. And I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but the opposing party of his was a service member, and he went out of his way to go up to this person despite the fact that he was going to be in the middle of a contested hearing to thank him for his service. And I think that speaks volumes to the kind of person that Byron is. He is a dedicated husband, father, grandfather, and friend. We have our employees here and our staff, and I think that if you ask them, many of you who have worked with Byron, you don't work with him, you don't work for him, you actually work with him. And I think we've had some attrition over the years. People need to spread their wings as attorneys, but much of this room, the family law bar, has had an opportunity to interact with Byron in the sense of working with him as an associate or having him on a case on the other side. For the legal community, Byron is and continues to be an attorney, a mentor, and a role model. I am continually told stories from fellow attorneys about Byron taking the time to advise and assist. He is always approachable and always available. I know this is the case for me and most likely many of you. Byron has contributed significantly through his professionalism, knowledge, and compassion. I know he appreciates the relationships he has developed within this legal community. If you know Byron, you know Byron. If you don't, you should get to know him. For me, within the scope of this recognition, Byron has been a mentor and a partner. Initially, the draw to him for me was not that I wanted to work with him, but rather that I wanted him to keep teaching me, and that he did. I acknowledge that I'm not always a willing listener or participant. It's probably still the case from time to time. But you've always been engaging to me and rarely defensive or offensive despite my demeanor. Those of you who have had the pleasure of practicing family law understand that it's a very difficult area. Being my mentor and now my partner at law has certainly softened that difficulty for me. Once again, I believe he's done the same for many of you. Thank you for recognizing his accomplishments by naming him the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year. And Dad, thank you for setting a standard for us to emulate and strive for.
At this point, I'd like to call Angelique Bonanno up to the podium.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Bar Association for being kind enough to allow me just a couple of words on behalf of Byron. I have known Byron for pretty close to about 20 years at this point, and I was one of the ones that had the honor and the privilege and the pleasure of working with him for about 5 years. And during that period of time, he never once had any question in his mind that he would throw me into the fire, but he knew that he was going to give me the tools that I needed to get the job done, and he consistently did it every single time. In my later years of practicing, I've had the pleasure of opposing him, and I can tell you that really has been a pleasure. As a young attorney, he had faith in me, and he believed in me, and he really served as a mentor to me. And it's a priceless thing to have someone that is that good at what he does, that's willing to take the time for a young lawyer and to actually say, let me give you some guidance. What about this? And then send you on your way and let you do it. Aside from being such a snappy dresser, I think that Byron, if we had an award for best address, I think Byron would win that award, and I think maybe that's his wife that's to blame for that or responsible for that. He is simply just a wonderful man. He's been married to his wife, I don't know, for years, and that was for you, Diane. He is the father of 3 children and a grandfather of 8 children at this time. He's an amazing golfer. One of my great regrets is that I haven't had a chance to be able to golf with him more. He's really that good. All of these things aside, he's an extremely talented attorney, and he has really helped to shape the family law community in the Inland Empire. If you haven't had a case against him, you've had a case against someone that was mentored by him through his firm. I can almost guarantee it. With the Jennifer Brooks Award, we recognize an attorney that has the 5 C's: civility, candor, compassion, competency, and courage, but there are 3 more C's that actually belong to Byron Thompson. Creative, comprehensive, and captivating. At the same time, there's a couple of other things that apply. There's an E, and that is ethical. If he tells you something, you can take it to the bank. He is the most honest man I think I've ever met. Finally, there's something that really, really stands out, and that's the letter F, friend. Thank you, Byron. Congratulations.
At this point, I'd like to call Byron Thompson up to the podium. Byron, on behalf of the Western San Bernardino Bar Association, it is my distinct privilege and honor to present you with the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year Award. Congratulations.
It's interesting, during the social hour, Janet Frangie mentioned to me that she had gotten an award. Where are you, Janet? Judge Frangie. Excuse me, that was personal. That she got an award for the Judge of the Year. And she said it was really neat because she wouldn't have to wonder what her eulogy would be like. Thank you, Blake. And thank you for leaving out the second part of it. Angelique, the years that you practiced with me were very, very special. I was very disappointed when you decided to leave, as you know. But it was something that happens. So I really, really appreciate your kind words. And Blake, it's been so satisfying to watch you develop professionally and the skill level that you have. I know this is bragging, but he's a better attorney than I am in my eyes. And I mean that. You're very, very good at what you do, and you're going to have an awesome career based on that. So thank you very much for your very kind words. I appreciate it. This is a very humbling experience, the honor that you've given me tonight. I want to thank the Western San Bernardino Bar Association, its officers, and its directors for this award. During the years of hard work that led up to this, I did not anticipate, I did not expect, it wasn't a goal that this would happen. But it is incredibly satisfying that it now has. This evening is even made more special by the attendance of friends, family, and staff. These people, right in these three tables right here, they deserve an enormous amount of credit for this award. They've always been there. They've always, especially my wife, stabilized me, and it's just to you that I share this honor tonight. As we all know, the support of staff is fundamental to the success of an attorney, and I'm no exception to that. Through the difficult and very stressful times of participating in a busy family law practice, I've been very lucky to have the support of competent, encouraging, hard-working staff members. My staff joining me tonight at the last table are Helen, I'm not even going to say how long we've been together. Diane, she runs the house. Rhea, you're new with us, but we appreciate everything you're doing. And Dominic, I was hesitant to have a male receptionist, but you've done a tremendous job, and I really thank you for that. Seated at that table also is an attorney that I've learned to respect and value who's been with Thompson & Thompson for almost 10 years, Mr. Jeffrey Biodeleed. Jeff, stand up. He's in attendance tonight, and we had a very special occasion last month. He's in attendance tonight with his new bride, Adrian. My friends at the middle table, you've supported me and you've given me a sense of being regular. Mr. Delgado, he probably wouldn't agree with Angelique that I'm that great of a golfer. Thank you for your friendship. Mr. Stout and Mr. Tundis were Laverne graduates. Mark was a couple years behind Dennis and I, but Dennis and I went to school together. And Alicia and Gigi, thank you very much for accompanying your husbands tonight. I've been able to stay with Diantha these last 5 or 10 years because of her good friend, Rachel, who's also at that team, and Rachel's daughter, Renee. Thank you very much. I've been very fortunate to have a family that has supported, encouraged, put up with, and loved me throughout this long career. There are 2 people seated with this family that I consider to be part of it. Craig and Linda Haynes. I met Linda in kindergarten, and we're still very active with one another as friends. Craig and I were in Cub Scouts together and Boy Scouts together. We won't repeat any of those stories. At that table, my daughter Blair and her husband Travis, my daughter Beth and her husband David, my son and partner Blake and his wife Amanda. My whole adult family is here. All we're missing is the craziness of the 8 other grandchildren, which has been such a tremendous pleasure. I'm so proud of all of you and have watched you grow into incredible individuals, incredible parents, and contributing adults, and it's very special. Last and certainly not least, which will allow me to do that, is an individual that's been supportive, encouraging, and my partner for the majority of my adult life, my wife Diantha. Thank you for everything. My congratulations to the other recipients tonight, Nancy Everhart and the Honorable Paul Egley. Judge Egley should be credited with providing to many of the judicial officers and attorneys in this room the opportunities to become contributing individuals in the field of law. He in many ways is directly responsible for building the strength of this legal community and its tremendous judiciary in the county of San Bernardino. To those of you that are in attendance that have been my peers, my competitors throughout the years, I personally want to thank you. The practice of family law is difficult. It demands that we all be counselors, listeners, supporters, and guides. During all of the arguments, the conflicts, the laughters, and the enjoyment, I never expected or anticipated being selected for this honor. You, my peers, set the bar, and thank you for that. In closing, I want to remind all of us in this room who have chosen the profession of the law that we are the custodians, the guardians of the rule of law that's been passed down to us by our predecessors. We must continue to nurture and protect it, since it is one of the major things that truly distinguishes this country. Thank you very much.
At this point, I would like to invite all dignitaries up who have recognitions for the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year.
Yeah. Another Laverne alumni, I see. And I've only experienced the golf course there, which was very nice. And I'm thinking maybe I should try the college and rethink my career path. So on behalf of the senator, I am honored to present a certificate on the Jennifer Brooks Lawyer of the Year to you. You have very well deserved it. And congratulations.
Promise is the last time you see me tonight. This is my last certificate. And then you can go off and finish off the wine at the tables. I'll also give you guys a public service announcement that you are lawyers and judges. You work really hard, very long hours, so I know you need time to distress. Applebee's is having $1 margaritas for the whole month of October. Just wanted to throw that out there. It's a great way to de-stress and or celebrate being the lawyer of the year. Right? But on a much serious note, on behalf of the State Assembly and Marstein, I would definitely love to give you the certificate for being the Lawyer of the Year for the San Bernardino County Bar Association. It is no small achievement to be honored with this award. I mean, this means you worked harder than everyone else. You put in hours, which is more than all these lawyers. I know lawyers do a lot of work. I understand a little bit of it. I have some lawyers in the family, so I know how crazy it can be. But thank you for all the work you've done in the community, and we only wish you luck for the rest of your career, and have a sweet retirement whenever you wish to do that.
Well, that brings that concludes our program for this evening. Please take a look under your seats. There is one envelope that offers a free membership to the Western Bar, along with the centerpiece. All other envelopes are for the centerpiece for you to take home. Thank you all for joining us to celebrate these highly accomplished and well-deserving award winners. At this point, I would like to take the opportunity to remind you of the following events. On December 8th, we have the Holiday Christmas Toys for Tots at the house of Michael and Darlene Scafidi. In January of 2018, we have the MCL events for those of you that need credits. In March of 2017, we have our Judicial Officer of the Year dinner. So drive safe tonight, and God bless, and thank you for coming.